I'm sure there are billions of people in the world, but few have ever experienced what I was going through. I curled up, knees hugged to my chest, and tucked the tools and food in front of me. There was just enough space in the crate to stretch my arms a bit. With time to kill, I figured I might as well rest. I dozed off. When I woke, a low rumble filled the air. Looking through the small openings of the crate, I saw a crane lifting boxes just like mine, hundreds of them, onto a very big truck. Once loaded, the truck drove out. We're heading to the ship, I thought. Once on board, I could slip out and move around. If the ship was already sailing, getting caught wouldn't be a big deal. I stayed hopeful. About an hour later, my crate was lifted, swinging in the air before landing on the truck. The truck drove towards the docks. My crate was lifted again, higher this time. Through the small openings, I saw the dock below, full of police, with very tight security. I quietly congratulated myself. Everything had gone smoothly so far. The crane lowered me into the ship's cargo area, but as soon as the workers put my crate in place, something felt wrong. Sure enough, with a loud thud, another crate was stacked on top of mine. I almost shouted in frustration. Damn it, didn't 19th floor arrange for my crate to be on the outside? I didn't dare make a sound. I could only hope that, while there was a crate above me, the sides would stay clear. Half an hour later, I was filled with despair. Crates surrounded me top, bottom, left, right. My crate was buried among hundreds. I'd have no chance to slip out during the long journey. This was too hard to bear. How could I survive this? I thought about shouting for help. If I did, I'd be freed but straight into police custody. If I didn't, could I last 20 days at sea in this crate? The thought was too hard to imagine. I started yelling. The idea of being buried alive for a month was too terrible. I'd rather face the police. I shouted for 5 minutes, but it was too late. Crates were stacked all around, making my voice quiet. Even if some sound escaped, it was too weak, covered by the loud noise of the crane. No one heard me. The sound of boxes piling up continued. More were being stacked above and around me. My shouts turned to frantic screams. I grabbed my tool, a special tool, and easily opened my crate's lid. But I couldn't get out. Another crate blocked my way. I pushed with all my strength, hoping to push it over and get attention to break free from this trap. But no matter how hard I tried, the crate wouldn't move. I turned on my flashlight, careful to save its battery, my only light source. Shining it on the crate ahead, I opened it and started pulling out its contents. It was packed with cotton cloth, as I'd suspected. I was surrounded by thousands, maybe millions of these packaged goods. It took huge effort, but I emptied the contents of the crate in front of me, stuffing them into my own. The tight space made it exhausting. By the time I'd emptied the other crate and crawled into it, I was completely tired. But my mood felt a little better. I realized I could keep going this way, slowly making a tunnel forward. I'd open the crate ahead, move its contents back, and move forward one step. It was like a sliding puzzle. Each move took effort, but it brought me closer to freedom. Even if there were 10 layers of crates ahead, 10 rounds of work would get me out. My first move had taken about 2 hours. If I kept at it, 20 hours could free me. And surely there weren't 10 layers of crates. The thought gave me energy. I jumped back to work, digging my tunnel. There are many tunnels in the world, but one carved through a mountain of cotton crates. That's unique. I pushed through 3 crates before taking a break to eat some dry food, then kept going. When I broke through the 6th crate, I shouted happily. There were no more crates ahead. But when I turned on my flashlight forward, my heart felt sad. My tunnel had worked. I should have been free. But beyond the cotton crates, another stack of cargo appeared. It was rolls of steel wire. How could I deal with that? Unless I had a magic sword that could cut through metal easily. Of course, I had no such sword. I wasn't foolish enough to try moving the steel wire rolls. Each one probably weighed a ton, and there were hundreds stacked in front of me. I fell down, feeling defeated. Hours of hard work had left my bones feeling very tired. The realization that all my effort was for nothing made me even more tired. I fell in the box like a dead body, losing track of time. As I lay still, I noticed the ship moving gently. The uneven sound of engines reached my ears. The ship had started moving, and I was trapped in the cargo area. I didn't want to move. I sat like a dead man, and in my very deep tiredness, I fell asleep. When I woke, I checked my watch. Confirming it hadn't stopped, I realized I'd slept for 10 hours. My body hurt everywhere. For a moment, I forgot where I was and tried to stretch. My head hit the box's lid with a loud thud. The pain made me yell, but it also woke my mind up. A sudden hope came to me. I wasn't lost. My tunnel had been blocked by the steel wires, impossible to dig through. But tunnels don't have to go straight. I could go up. Cargo in a ship's hold rarely goes all the way to the top. There's usually a gap. If I could break through the top box, I might climb out, crawl over the wires or other cargo, and escape. I got back to work. This time, it was easier. When I opened a crate, the cotton cloth inside fell down by themselves, saving me the effort of moving them. After breaking through 6 more crates, I finally climbed to the top of the pile. The space above was larger than I'd hoped. I could stand upright. I turned on my flashlight and went over the steel wires. Beyond them were bags of goods. I'd been hidden in a corner of the cargo area. It was not by chance. 19th floor hadn't been careless. This was on purpose. He didn't want me dead, but he sure wanted me to suffer. I'm not one to forget a grudge. As I climbed down the sacks, I promised that if I could, I'd make 19th floor feel what it's like to be buried alive. Once I reached the small open space in the cargo area, I saw an iron ladder leading up. Cargo holds are locked during trips, but someone checks them sometimes. I'd planned to wait for an inspection to make my move, but I changed my mind. I didn't know how long I'd have to wait, and I really needed fresh air. I climbed the ladder to the door on the top of the ship. Pushing upward, I opened it a little. Using a very thin saw blade, one of my many tools, I put it through the gap and cut the lock. The ship was old and rusty, which made it possible to cut through. When I pushed the door open and breathed in fresh air, the relief was amazing. It was very dark outside midnight. I climbed out and flipped onto the deck. After taking a few deep breaths, I moved forward a dozen steps and hid in a lifeboat hanging by the ship's rail. It was a perfect hiding spot, hard to notice even in the day, let alone at night. I started planning my next move. If I hadn't damaged the cargo area, I could have walked out openly. I'd have gone straight to the captain, asking him for help. On a ship, the captain is king, and making him feel important might have given me a place. But I'd ruined 12 boxes of cotton cloth, making them a mess. If I showed myself, the captain would lock me up right away. I needed another way to survive this long trip. Food was not a problem. I still had my food. But I needed water, and the kitchen was the best place.